Today I'm going to talk about 13 things only support mains will understand. For those of you who consistently lock support game in and game out, first of all, thank you. And second of all, you will understand every single one of these because they sadly happen in your games, and this encapsulates the support experience. Now this starts off right in the spawn, where you're going to be asked, can we get a Mercy by typically a DPS player that wants you to pocket them? Or if you lock Mercy, sometimes you'll randomly get asked by a tank to swap off Mercy. And if you're playing a support combo that doesn't pass the quote-unquote test, you will be told, can we get more heals? And this is before you've even stepped foot out of the spawn. Now, this is fine, you just can ignore it or listen to it, whatever, but then you lose a fight, and if you did too much damage, then you will be told to heal more, you're a bot, and if you didn't do enough damage, you'll be told to stop heal botting, and if you're gonna heal bot, just play Mercy. So, it all comes full circle. Now, next up, if you die with an ult, and it doesn't really matter at what point you got the ult, you could have got the ult as you died when everyone on your team was already dead, or you could have just decided not to use it because the enemy team were nanoblading or doing something crazy. Doesn't matter. If you die with an ult, you're gonna get asked, are you ever going to use your ult? Stop holding your ult. How many ults have you gotten this game? And yeah, that will just keep going on and on and on. They might even type, our support doesn't know how to press Q in the freaking chat. And if that ever happened to you, you gotta smash that subscribe button because I think I'm nailing it pretty perfectly here for the support player experience. Now, if you just start losing as a whole, then the first thing that your DPS player is going to say is, can you just pocket me? This will commonly be hit scan players, but it could occasionally be players like Genji or other random characters that are just wanting you to put all your resources into this one person. Doesn't matter how good this person's playing. They have the ego to just tell you to pocket them. But yeah, just pocket me. You're useless otherwise. At least that's what they think. And yeah, they're just going to ask that randomly, even if you died to some ultimate combo. Like, okay. Now, this next one is a really frustrating one that I think a lot of you are gonna definitely relate to. And this is just when players assume that you always have your abilities available for them. Why didn't you Suzu while they're like literally in the enemy team? Or maybe you use Suzu to save someone else and you don't have it because it's a long freaking cooldown. Or why didn't you nade right after you like 4-man naded the enemy team, but they just want you to heal them for just a tiny chunk of health because they're once again feeding, playing out in the middle of nowhere. Or Lucio, stop speed boosting, or just whatever. I mean, it's just assumption of abilities and micromanaging of abilities. And I think this happens more when you're playing support than anyone else. No one's telling a Widow to like aim a different way, like bad crosshair placement, or what are you doing with that mine? But they'll be very quick to tell you as other characters what you should be doing with all your abilities as a support, right? It's definitely pretty annoying, but it definitely happens a lot. Now, the next one is the quote-unquote support diff, where if your teammate gets killed in the enemy backline, they're just gonna type GG support diff. Or they're just gonna type support diff randomly. And this is especially true if you fight back on any of the things that they have suggested in the start. If you didn't swap Mercy when they wanted to, or swap off of Mercy when you wanted to, or if you complained or argued that you were doing a lot when you were healing too much or not healing enough, or if you try to argue any of your cases, then automatically you are the problem. You're the reason that they're losing. And, you know, it doesn't matter if your DPS or tank is like 0 and 29, it doesn't matter, it's your fault. Yeah, positioning, not a thing, it's your fault. Now, let's talk about the player experience of a support and just some things that you will definitely feel as a support main. And the first one is you're gonna carry a game like so hard. You did some crazy impactful things. You canceled res as Lucio. You hit huge nades. You flanked and killed people as Kiriko. You just did so much clutch reses. Doesn't matter how hard you were fighting. Doesn't matter how hard you carry, you get 0 recognition. Everyone's gonna be dapping each other up. Oh, dude, you're awesome. Oh, that's sick. You're awesome. You're amazing. But no one gives you any love. You get 0 recognition, even if you literally played the best game of your goddamn life. It just flies right under the radar, right under the radar. No one even realizes how hard you carried them. You know, just another day in the office for a support main, unfortunately. Now, if you don't actually play how someone wants you to play, or if you start to lose and you don't perform how they want you to perform, or literally for whatever reason at the top, they will start complaining about the rank system. Typically, DPS players will say, this rank system is broken. You're boosted by Overwatch 2, and they'll start looking in your profile. And the second they look at it and they're like, oh, this guy was super high rank back in the day. He's obviously not boosted by the system. They'll find up some other excuse. oh, this guy is just an abuser of some character in the past or whatever. I don't even know. They'll find a way to blame the system because their mind doesn't comprehend why you're here. Even if you're like popping off in their mind, you are, you know, not doing enough. So yeah. Now, this is another one that you'll get from the enemy team, and this one's hilarious, where the enemy team will complain about your abilities, and this is the supports are broken. So you do something really, really sick with an ability. It's not like DPS v DPS, where people will say like nice shot or something like that. With supports, they'll just start complaining and ranting in chat, text chat that is, how broken something is. Like, damn, Resurrect is such a balanced ability. Or, oh my god, Suzu, just get rid of it. Why do they keep making supports so broken? They'll just keep typing this kind of stuff to you. Because as a support, you can't be given props. You're either someone that is terrible and easy to farm, or you're being boosted because supports are overpowered. There's literally no in between, and that's kind of just true. I think a lot of you support players feel that, or at least that's what a lot of enemies say when you actually outplay them, right? Now, the next common experience is you're fighting for your life because your DPS and your tanks are leaving you. Like, you're getting hacked and slammed by a ball, and you're like fighting for your freaking life, doing anything you can to stay alive while your team is just chilling on the front line. And the second you die, or maybe you don't heal them because you're literally fighting for your life 1v3, your DPS and tanks start to complain, and you like probably pop an internal blood vessel because it doesn't matter what you need, they still want their healing, right? They're like, you're literally getting beat to death and they still want your healing. They're not gonna help you, but they still want what they want. So yeah, fighting for your life, that's a very frustrating moment for a support main. Speaking of fighting for your life, sometimes as a support, you feel like you can't necessarily carry. Like, you can't do enough to carry, but you can definitely throw. And it feels unrewarding sometimes to always be trying your absolute hardest just to win. And it's like a weight is off your shoulders and you feel like exhausted after you won because you tried so hard to do everything you possibly could and you just barely won, that you were just like more happy that it's over than you are that you won the game. And then the games that you just lose, you feel like it's impossible. Like, you're like, all right, here's a heal, and they run out and die. And you're like, fuck, all right, well, I guess I'll heal better next time. And it's, yeah, definitely a frustrating time. Now, the last thing, number 13, and this is the thing that a lot of non-support players don't understand, and that support players are actually harder on themselves than you'll ever be. Like, support players are very critical of their own plays that they mess up. You mess up a res, you mess up an ability, they're critical of themselves. They're critical of their own performance. And no matter what you say, you'll never truly get to them as bad as they get to themselves when they lost a game that they knew that they could have done something better. While a DPS player will kind of have a little bit of an ego and blame it on other people, or a tank player might just be indifferent about the whole thing, a support player is definitely going to be a bit hard on themselves. Now, did you like the series? Let me know if there was anything I didn't hit in this video. And of course, we're going to be doing the DPS and tank ones coming up, but smash the like, subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and I'll see you next time.